It's time to do our taxes, which means it's time to get a refund. So if you're expecting a refund this year, head to Walmart and pick up a Walmart money card. With free direct deposit, you can get your refund fast. Just enter the card's number on your tax return form. If you're owed a refund, you'll get the money directly deposited onto your card. Don't wait by the mailbox. Get your money fast. Start strong. Save big at tax time. Walmart.
Purchase monthly and other fees apply. See package for details. Successful card setup is required.
We are all about women getting real. Total women's wellness. Delayna, get it right. You are a strong, independent woman in society today. You can't afford to forget about doing you. You need to get your mind, spirit, and your body right. Because we are the superheroes of today. Changing the world.
Hello, and welcome to the Total Woman Wellness Show. I am your host, Delayna K. Watkins, and you are tuned in here every Wednesday at 12 noon, where we bring you all the goodness for your mind, body, and spirit health. Today is the first Wednesday in February, and guess what? This is Heart Health Month. During the month of February, most Americans see the human heart as the symbol of love. But really, February is American Heart Health Month, which is a time to show yourself the love. And I have coined the hashtag Love Your Heart. So later on the show, we're going to be giving you some tips on how to love your heart. Now, just before we get started, and I introduce you to our special guest for today, who is Dr. Tonya Callender of Callender Global. I am so excited to have her on the show. She is so full of energy, and she's going to bring me some sunshine all the way from Florida, because here in our area in the DMV, we do not have sunshine. It is freezing cold, so I cannot wait to get some of that goodness that Tonya will bring to us here shortly. But first, I have a few announcements because I'm always excited. I get excited about everything that I have going on here and to be able to share it with you on this platform on my show. The first is the Stiletto Women Business Owners DC. Let me tell you, ladies, if you have not gotten on board with this tour coming to our nation's capital, you really need to visit the website, get some idea about the visionary Kim Harris behind this movement. And not only does it have to do with stilettos, I'm sold out right there, but just the fact that it really talks about learning to connect and grow together as women in business. There is still time for you to get a discount on your VIP tickets, although the discount percentage has changed because as of the 31st, it was 40%. Now it's down to 25%, but you can still capitalize on that. It takes place on April the 10th, and I am one of the co-ambassadors. The website is stiletto.wbodc.eventbrite.com, and you will find all the details there about that event. The next event is sold out. I told you all last week on the show that this event would be sold out. However, they are still in need of volunteers for both the conference and the celebration, which will be following the conference, and that is a Woman's Worth Conference. The visionary behind that is Shannon Henderson out of North Carolina, and she is bringing this awesome event also, again, to our D.C., Maryland, Virginia area on March the 28th, 2015. So please make sure that you visit awwconference.com and find out more information on there about being a volunteer We're looking for women leaders that can help us and to be able to pour back into the next generation of women leaders as she rose. And then the Winners Summit, this is gaining momentum. The lovely visionary behind that is Deborah Hardnett. She is one of my superstar wealthy sisters. I love her. I am the health and wellness correspondent on the Wealthy Sisters radio show every second Tuesday of the month. And she has her annual Winners Summit, which will also be held here in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area on March 27th and 28th. For more information about that, go to thewinnerssummit.com or wealthysistersradio.com, and there's information there about that upcoming conference. Also, another great way to connect with women, to also learn, grow, and connect with your business and in life. So those are my top 3 things that the Total Woman is participating in coming up in March and April. I stated at the beginning of the show, this is Heart Health Month, and so this coming Friday on February the 6th, it is National Wear Red Day. So what I want all of my listeners out there to do is to pick out a lovely red dress, a lovely red shirt, a lovely red sweater, scarf, whatever. Wear your red this Friday and tag me in your picture or put it on my wall, on the Total Woman Wellness wall, so that we can show and share that we love our hearts. And you can use the hashtag Love Your Heart. Let's start a campaign to bring awareness, because 1 in 3 women die of heart disease, which is a startling statistic. It used to be 1 in 5, and then it went to 1 in 4. Now it is 1 in 3. So we are truly losing the battle against heart disease, and we need to make sure that we're bringing awareness to it and taking steps for prevention. So this is my way of really just kind of bringing awareness and being able to, kind of start the campaign for the Go Red and bringing awareness as we think about loving ourselves for Valentine's Day, but also loving your heart as well. So without further delay, here we are, special guest for today, and I have the privilege of introducing you to her. Now, as I said before, our special guest is Dr. Tonya Callender, and she's coming to us from Florida. She is a mother, an author, a successful entrepreneur, as well as an anointed international motivational speaker who is known for her contagious enthusiasm. Now, you all know I love that, because who else is enthusiastic besides your host? I just love it. She delivers high-energy messages which empowers people to shake off the mediocrity and live up to their greatness. Her messages are based upon personal lessons learned through her own life. These trials caused her to suffer for years from deep feelings of shame and rejection. However, by applying God's word to her life, she discovered the freedom to live victoriously and in turn develop a desire to help others do the same. Now, Tonya is living all of her dreams and accomplishing her goals, including launching several new business entities, writing and publishing her first literary piece entitled Naked, Not Ashamed. This book has sold thousands of copies. She went on to continue as CEO of Callender Global, Inc., and several other prominent business ventures. There is no stopping the creative gift of Tonya L. Callender, and I am very excited to bring her on to the show today. Good afternoon, Tonya. How are you?
Good afternoon. I am super excited to be on this call with you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And, I shared, and I can feel the sunshine, even though I know that it won't affect the temperature too much, but that's okay. We can turn up on the radio airwaves coming out of Florida.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking time out. I know you are busy. I know I see you over there kingdom building and doing your everything. I so appreciate it. Now, I want you to just share with our listeners out there just a little bit about Tonya and really and truly how, because we all have a story about how we came to be where we are at this present moment. So I just want you to take the time before we really delve into the nooks and crannies about what you're going to share with our listeners today, just a little bit about Tonya.
Okay. To share with you a little bit about Tonya. Tonya, as a little girl, was the little girl that dreamed. I always dreamed big. My parents used to always say I was Alice in Wonderland. You dream too big. And that's something that God gave me at a very, very early age. I mean, I had these ridiculous, and that's one of the hashtags I currently use, ridiculous faith. I had ridiculous dreams. And but unfortunately, at a young age, I experienced quite a lot of hardship. My mother put me out when I was 12, so I've been taking care of myself since I was 12 years old. And that in itself, being a 12-year-old is difficult. So being a 12-year-old, being a 12-year-old on your own was quite trying, very trying. God always saw me through. I became a teen mother at 15, and every 22 months I had another child. So I ended up with 4 children from 4 different men, teenager, high school dropout. I was never supposed to be anything. At least that's what everybody in my family always said. I was never supposed to amount to anything, so forth and so on. And I found myself in a situation where I met a great guy. He was in the Navy, got married. We had another child together. I actually had 3 at the time, and then we had a 4th together. In the state of Virginia, things got tight for us financially, so I started writing checks that were not good checks. They were bad checks. The state of Virginia found they didn't find that very amusing at all. They sentenced me to 15 years in prison, suspended 12, and gave me 3 to serve in the state penitentiary for women. It was during that time that I realized that I needed to make a change in my life. I always loved school. I was always the kid that had the big heart. I was very compassionate, always giving to a fault, but that was my lowest place. I was away from my children. My husband divorced me in prison, and I made a choice. I'd always knew that there was somebody out there. I'd always heard about God, but I had the opportunity to have a personal encounter with him when I was in prison. And I promised myself and I promised God that I would not be the same woman that went in that came out. I was blessed with the opportunity to be gone away from my children when they were little. So they didn't, only the 2 older boys kind of remembered the separation. My youngest daughters didn't because they were too young to remember that. And I came out on fire. I came out, I understood, I quickly realized looking in the Word of God that the Word of God is a mirror. You know, you have to find yourself in the Word of God and look at it like a mirror. And so I realized that I received the revelation from the Holy Spirit that I had been answering to names all my life that were not my God-given names. You know, I answered to liar. I answered to whore. I answered to thief. I answered to cheater. And so because I answered to those names, I walked out the purposes in those names. I became those things. Wow. And so I got the revelation that if I started answering to some other names, just for kicks and giggles, because me and the Holy Spirit talk just like I'm talking to you. And he said, just for kicks and giggles, answer to some of the names I called you before you were in your mother's womb. You're beautiful. You're beloved. You're the righteousness of Christ. You're the joint heir. So I began to do that. And then as I did that, it completely transformed my life. I began to dream again. I was created to be a visionary. So I began to believe what the Word of God said about me. Now, when I came home, society didn't receive that too well. I had a scarlet letter on my forehead. I was a convicted felon, high school dropout, received my GED in prison. So to the world, I was nothing. And so it took staying before God, believing what he said about me, and allowing him to open doors and give me opportunities. And that in itself just fired me up. So I never took no for an answer. The whole home-based business industry appealed to me because I figured, maybe if I just start my own business, I can do it that way because nobody would hire me. And that's exactly what happened. Right. I partnered with a network marketing company about 6 years ago, and that completely transformed my life, transformed my bank account. I was able to leave the job that I was working, I started making six figures in the industry and never looked back. And God has blessed me and taken me from glory to glory to glory to glory. Wrote my first book. I self-published. I was the one that should have never wrote a book. I self-published that book. It sold about 21,000 copies. So I can say that God is faithful to his word, and I still have ridiculous faith.
Absolutely. And, I'm just sitting over here, and I'm sure that even the listeners out there, when I said, so tell the listeners a little bit about Tonya, they weren't expected to take that type of journey to a story of victory and triumph. I honestly can say that listening to you, I was envisioning, and you told your story with such detail and with such passion that as you were sharing what you were talking about, I was envisioning what was occurring in your life. And so being able to do that really allows the person to effectively take a journey on, through your mission, even down to the part where you talked about being a teenage mom and having, 3 children and ultimately marrying and then being in a situation, wherever that may have been in life, where you found yourself financially strapped. And you know how people say you never know what you may do until the time comes where you need to feed your family or keep a roof over your head or do certain things like that, right? And so you found yourself writing bad checks, and then ultimately ending up with a felony charge, having to go to prison, and then having life turn and spin on its axis, for you. But while there, like you said, you kind of came out on fire, got your GED, found, some things out about yourself, ultimately, that allowed you to then spearhead and come out on victory and triumphant over.
Absolutely.
And that was such an awesome story. So now, as such, we know that you are certifiable, able to give us the tools for victory and triumph, because sometimes that we have to be certified in this or rehearsed in that or have a specific piece of paper because I sat through a semester of a class or that I've been certified to teach this. Sometimes life certifies you to be able to go out and talk to others about your personal experience, what it took, and then you're applying life lessons and life skills to get the results. And so it does not have to come with, 3 letters, 2 letters, some dots before or after your name to say that you are certified to teach and talk on these things because you have gone through that throughout your life. And so I appreciate you for that, and I appreciate you for setting the tone for where we are about to take our listeners now. So if you are just joining us, we have as a special guest today Dr. Tonya Callender, who just shared her story of, like I said, victory and triumph. And now we're just going to kind of take all that and bottle it up and really be able to motivate, because here's what I know and here's what I'm thinking. Oftentimes when we are going through, we feel it is just an autonomous journey because it is just us who is experiencing whatever we may be going through. And at that time, we may not realize that there is someone else out there who has maybe gone through that same exact story or who may be in the midst of it and their feet is being held to the fire at that very moment as well. So being able to turn on the radio or, dial into a program and listen to someone else share that they've been where you are or they've come through what you're going through really gives you that opportunity to sometimes hold your chin up a little higher and square out your shoulders and know that you have the strength within to make it through. So when we talk about motivation, Tonya, it has become sort of a household and really universal word. And you know what happens when something becomes household and universal? It sort of loses its power in a way. And so when we hear motivation thrown around quite often, people are like, okay, motivation. What I want you to do right now for the listeners is to share something that is not ordinary about how you use and view motivation.
Okay. I actually get that question quite often. I get the question, Tonya, how do you stay motivated? And people don't understand motivation is an action word. Motivation is an action word. Mm-hmm. You don't wait to be motivated to take action. You take action, and action motivates you. And so,
I like that. Say that again in case they weren't paying attention.
Absolutely. a lot of times we're looking for motivation. We're looking for it to come, the motivation to come, and then we take action. But motivation in itself is an action word. So you have to take action to become motivated. Once you take action, once you execute on something, you execute or you implement, you become motivated from the fruit of what you just did, and that motivates you. For instance, in the marketplace,
that's good.
If you take action and it produces income or money, you become motivated because now you're not broke. You have some money in your hand, so now you're motivated to do it again and do it again and do it again. But unfortunately, we learned it. We were taught it in the opposite. Get motivated and then go out and go do and conquer the world. No, you go out and conquer the world, and the motivation will come to allow you to continue to conquer the world. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I have daily affirmations that I say. I share every day, every morning, every night, all day. It's just my knee-jerk response to any situation that may come up, because God created us to be speaking beings. And unfortunately, when we get upset, stressed out, depressed, the first thing we do, if you notice, the first thing you do when you're aggravated, you're hurt, or you're mad, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. You don't want to talk on the phone. You don't want anybody to come to the house. You don't want to communicate. And that's the trick of the enemy, because if you shut your mouth, you can't call those things the way they should be. So when you're stressed out the most, when your situations is not looking the way you want it to look, we have to do just what God did. He spoke a thing. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. It didn't flicker. It was light. Light came on. So when you're going through things in your life, I had to speak to my finances. I knew who I was in Christ. I was a giver. I was a faithful tither. My financial situation was not lining up to what it should, so I had to speak it into existence. So I continue to I continue to tell myself, I earn six figures. I earn six figures. I earn six figures. I tithe $1,000 a month. I tithe $1,000 a month. And I continue to say it I spoke it into existence, because we were created to be speaking beings. So what I would share with anybody, with your listeners, about being motivated, staying motivated, is continue to take action. Stay in action. Stay moving. Don't stand still. Never close your mouth. Speak out your mouth what you want to see, contrary to what you see, because you have to see it before you see it. And what I mean by that is you have to see it. You have to see yourself driving that car, or you have to see yourself out of that situation. You have to see yourself where it is you want to be, and not concentrate on where you're physically at, because your physical world will catch up to the spiritual realm if you speak it often enough. So what I do is I speak my affirmation on my phone, on my smartphone, on the voice recorder. So when I get in those places when I don't want to open my mouth, I'm just aggravated, I'm frustrated, I don't want to be bothered, I don't want to talk to anybody, I put my headphones on and I listen to me motivate me. I listen to my voice tell me I'm worthy. And you are your greatest cheerleader, and you're the best minister outside of the Holy Spirit. It's better for your spirit man to hear you speaking to it than anybody else outside of the Holy Spirit.
That's good right there. And I swear, you started that, and I posed that question to you, not knowing what direction it would go in, but knowing that something needed to be said, because, again, I guarantee you right now, if we were to go on any social media site and use the hashtag motivation, or just search for the word motivation, you would see it used quite often, regularly, probably each day in some way, form, or fashion. And so what happens is, like I said, it becomes household or universal, and sometimes we forget the meaning behind it, or what its intended use when we talk about motivation. And so what you said was very profound, and action to become motivated. And like you said, and that is so, so very true, we were taught it the other way around, and that is that we need to become motivated in order to take action. Honey, that is profound. That is profound. And
that's why we find ourselves stuck. We are standing still because we're waiting for the motivation to cause us to go to action. And that's why so many people feel stuck.
Exactly. I like that. And I'm sure that the listeners out there, you should like it and love it too. So, again, hashtag TWW show. We are talking to the lovely Dr. Tonya Callender. We're going to go to our first Physically Fit commercial break. because when we come back, I want to pick up right there. And with that, we're going to talk about something that you recently said, and it was, does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? So listeners, ponder on that. Does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? Because she just said, speak about it, speak it into life. So what are you speaking into your ear gate? What are you speaking into existence? And so when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to pick up right there. But you all know, as I said, this is Work That Heart Month, Love Your Heart. And so for our first Physically Fit commercial break, we are going to just get that heart pumping. We're going to do jumping jacks for 30 seconds. If you're feeling good, you're going to do it for 60 seconds until we return from the commercial break. The more you do, the more your heart will love you. And also when we come back from commercial break, we'll be joined by our fitness coach, Be Fit Johnson. And let me just tell you, she'll love the fact that you are pumping up your heart during this commercial break. All right, so see you in a few.
The exclusive Blacklist, February 12th, featuring delectable wines from African-American wineries. Meet jazz legend Marcus Johnson and shoe crazy wines Gwen Hurt and others. Delicious food provided by our sponsor, Boss Chi Catering, as well as live jazz. February 12th at the picturesque Virginia War Memorial. Tickets are $75 for this historical and trailblazing event. Become a part of history. Get your tickets today at www.thevinewineclub.com or by calling 804-993-4130. You don't want to miss this.
This is Caprice Smith, your uncuffed living expert. I want to take a moment and speak to my women entrepreneurs. If you have your own business card in the name of your business, but you struggle when someone asks what it is you do, that is a problem. If you are not making money that's going to build your legacy and sustain your family, that is a problem. I invite you to hop on over to capricesmith.com, join my free newsletter, and while you're there, schedule your strategy session. I want to help you uncover some things that you should already know. I spent 20 years perfecting my craft, and I'm willing to share all of what I know with you today. If you're not living uncuffed, you're just not living. And if you're cuffed in your business, your clients will know that and they won't invest in you. So let's connect. Until next time, have an awesome day.
Hey, this is Coffee Black, coming through to bring you the latest in sports, celebrity, and entertainment news. Here's the sip this week. So, congrats to the Super Bowl champs and New England Patriots. Cheaters never win unless you're Tom Brady. Moving on. Bobby Christina's in serious condition after being found not breathing face down in her bathroom. They say it's not looking good. And it's also not looking good for Suge Knight. He reportedly committed murder resulting from a hit and run. I'm sure he's on his 10th strike or something, so we won't be seeing him for a while. You know, unless Johnny Cochran comes from the dead. I'm just saying, make sure you check out my site, thesipwithcoffeeblack.com, and tune in next week to The Sip with Coffee Black. No sugar, no cream.
Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. That's the type of girl I need down with my team. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Hey, that's the kind of girl I need.
Most people are held captive by being an employee or self-employed. Heroes Academy helps break these chains that bind them. Our financial school has 2 courses of study. First, one for people who want to transition to become business owners, and a second for students who want to learn to become an investor. For more information, please go to heroacad.com. Most people are held captive by being an employee or self-employed. Heroes Academy helps break these chains that bind them.
Welcome back to the Total Woman Wellness Show. I am your host, Delayna K. Watkins, and you are tuned in here every Wednesday at 12 noon. Today, we are being joined by our special guest, Dr. Tonya Callender, and she has been on fire. Let me just tell you, she shared her wonderful story of victory and triumph and came out on fire and has shared some of that fire with our listeners here today. If you're just joining us, we just had an opportunity to talk about motivation and how we were thinking about it all wrong. So we're going to bring her back onto the show here shortly. But before we do, I want to share this week's hashtag Ask the Nurse segment with you. And it says, I was recently diagnosed with CVD, which is cardiovascular disease. I went to the doctor because I was becoming short of breath and having heart palpitations. I want to learn more about CVD and what I can do to manage the symptoms and control the disease. And that came from Natalie R. in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Well, first of all, Natalie, thank you. And, of course, I selected this particular question for the show today because it deals with heart disease as we celebrate Heart Health Month and bring awareness to heart disease. So what is CVD? Cardiovascular disease is really just a class of diseases. It's what we use in the healthcare industry to really be able to put them under one umbrella. And so it involves the heart, the blood vessels, which is your arteries and capillaries, and it refers to any disease that affects the cardiovascular system. The causes of cardiovascular disease are diverse, but atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of your arteries, and hypertension, which is high blood pressure, are the most common causes of cardiovascular disease. So one of those two things typically is the reason why you were getting short of breath or having heart palpitations, and so therefore your doctor diagnosed you, Natalie, with cardiovascular disease, okay? And so when we come back from our next commercial break, I'll share some things that you and any other woman out there listening can do to not only manage, but also, you know me, I'm the prevention queen, prevent heart disease, okay? So again, Natalie R. from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, thank you for submitting your question to hashtag Ask the Nurse. And so if you have a question that you would like answered live on air, you can do so by using hashtag Ask the Nurse, posting it in the Total Woman Wellness Show fan page or Delayna K. Watkins fan page. And so now I want to bring on to the show our lovely, lovely fitness correspondent, and she is truly my fitness queen and always my fitness inspiration, and that is Coach B. Fit Johnson. Hello, Belinda. How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am doing fine. You know, during the Physically Fit commercial break, I had them doing jumping jacks, so we were getting that cardio and getting that heart warmed up. So what you got for us? Because I'm trying to tell them how to love their heart and take care of their heart, and so fitness and exercise is a big piece of that. So come on, Coach B. Fit, tell them what they got to do.
Okay, first of all, let me give kudos and hats off to Dr. Tonya Callender. She is landing on thick, I'm telling you. I mean, it goes along with what we're talking about when it comes to health and fitness. Take action to become motivated is one of the key things that you must do. And in order to take action, you just have to do it. You can't just sit around and think on it. You just have to get up and do it, and your motivation and your inspiration will come. And one of the things to do to treat that body and to treat that heart is lots of cardio. Even if you don't have an hour to dedicate to your day, get it in 5 minutes here, 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes 3 or 4 times a day. Just get it. Don't go about your day thinking thoughts of, I don't have time, I can't afford this, or I can't do this, or working out is a waste of time, I got this to do. No, what's a waste of time are those words you allow it to flow out of your mouth that are not amounting to nothing. Get this heart pumping. Get the blood pumping around that heart, and let's make something happen. Treat your body with days of cardio, abs, and weight training, and then reward yourself with a healthy meal. So I piggyback on Dr. Tonya's words and say take action and become motivated. Let's get this heart healthy now.
Absolutely. And thank you for that because, again, it is such a good segue, what she said, into what I know we talk about all the time, and that is being motivated. And yes, that motivation comes just from you doing it. And you have to develop that motivation for what it means to you. I always say the time will never be perfect. You're going to always be busy. Those things will always be there to kind of, throw you mentally off your game. Don't play those mental gymnastics. You're wasting good cardio. Instead, move that body and get that heart rate going. So, Belinda, thank you, as always, for that awesome fitness tip. Tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and, of course, get more motivation to stay fit because, girl, let me tell you, ladies, Belinda has the fitness. You must definitely follow her, even if it's just a quick video. She will show you how to get off that couch, get down on that floor, and do something that will get that heart above your resting heart rate to what we call our THR, which is your targeted heart rate. So follow Belinda because I don't always post my fitness stuff, but Belinda always posts her fitness stuff. So Coach Be Fit, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
For more fitness tips, videos, inspiration, and motivation, you can reach me at www.iamcoachbfit.com. That's Coach B as in boy, fit.com. iamcoachbfit.com. And remember, fitness starts now, never later.
Yes. Thank you so much again, Belinda. I appreciate you. Now, without further delay, and because for all of you who were on the call, just in case, there's strategic how I do this. I know you were probably doing your jumping jacks for about 30 seconds or 60 seconds for my real true warriors out there. So I was allowing your heart rate to come back down so that you can get into a place and receive from our special guest. Now we will be joined by Dr. Tonya Callender, who's going to pick right up with, as she left off, talking about how you had to speak about it and speak it into life, into your existence. Now, I said that when we came back, she was going to talk about a quote that she recently put on social media, which said, does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? So Dr. Tonya, tell them about being able to speak it and what that means and what they can do now, today, to really make sure that they're speaking about what they want to be about. I'm sorry, we had some technical difficulties. Dr. Tonya, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Okay,
Hello?
I apologize. We had a little technical difficulty there. I was telling them, of course, now we were speaking just before the last commercial break about being able to speak it into life, speak it into existence. So I want you just to kind of comment on your belief that does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? Because that was a good segue into being able to speak about it.
Okay, absolutely. Just to share with you, over the weekend, Saturday, I had a vision board party, and I'm very visual. So a lot of people journal. I don't really necessarily like to write. I like to see. I'm visual. So I would put, my journal is a vision board. And so quite a few women had on their board, they wanted to lose 25 pounds, they wanted to lose 10 pounds, get fit, get toned. But in the course of our conversations, they would say, oh, I don't know how I'm ever going to lose this weight. It's just so hard to get this weight off. Well, wait a minute. You put it on the board that that's a goal, that's what you want to do, but you're out your mouth, you're saying it's too difficult,
mm-hmm.
You don't have enough time. So you're contradicting yourself. You're confusing
mm-hmm.
yourself. And what ultimately happens is that's when we get stuck. We stand still. And that's because you're confusing your real self, the real self that wants to be toned, the real self that wants to be 25 pounds lighter, the real self that wants to be able to run with the kids or the grandkids. You're confusing that real self, saying one thing but doing something different. So if you're saying out of your mouth you want to lose 25 pounds, you're putting it on your vision board that you want to lose 25 pounds, okay, you have to get up and get moving to accomplish that goal. Your words have to reflect your actions. Those two must line up.
Right, and I don't think people quite get that, but here's what I have been able to, not only personally, but just in the realm of looking beyond, your circumstances, is when you, and like what you just talked about, being able to be visual, and then what you speak, you also internalize it before you will really begin to, I guess, embrace it and allow it to materialize. And so for some people, being visual, and like you say, you're not a journaling person, so writing it, but being able to kind of get that message out of there and aligning it with what you embody and with what you believe. And so when you said, I like when you said that, which is why I wrote it down to talk to you about it, does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? Because I often talk about doing a neck-up checkup. What are we allowing ourselves to hear? What are we allowing ourselves to speak? And then what are we then thinking about as far as our mindset is concerned? Because those are the things that truly affect our thoughts. And so when you said that, it was just like, wow, does your mouth line up with your 2015 goals? And so
Absolutely.
You just talked about hosting the vision board party. So I'm going to move into that because we're seeing a lot of people, especially this time of the year, with it being a new year, we all, again, talk about changing behaviors, setting resolutions, and then just visually making goals for ourselves. But it really goes beyond that. And I want to congratulate you for not only hosting a vision board party, but also for having a sold-out event. That's right, ladies, a sold-out event. And what I want you to do is kind of take our listeners in that room with you. I know you just shared a brief story about one of the attendees who had goals on the board, but it goes beyond just cutting and pasting visual pictures. Take us into that room and tell us what you talked about before you were able to really allow the ladies to become, whether it was motivated or inspired about what to cut and paste on to those vision boards, because it's really much more than just at the end having a finished product. It has to represent more.
Absolutely. One thing that I shared with the ladies was the fact that I needed them to have ridiculous dreams. I needed them to dream because a lot of people were putting basic things. And what I mean by basic things, I want a nicer car. One young lady was putting a Toyota Corolla on her vision board. And I said, okay, I need you to stretch yourself. The things that the desires of your heart. Don't be afraid and put yourself in a box because you don't think you deserve it. Because what I found was so many people, there were very simple, basic things they were placing on their vision board. And I found, in having conversations with them, I found that when we become adults, especially women, we wear so many different hats. As we become adults and mothers and wives and friends and things of that nature, we find ourselves feeling guilty about taking care of ourselves. We feel guilty about pampering ourselves. When the reality is, if you're not whole and you're not happy, you can't effectively support or minister or pour into anybody else. And so I asked everybody to stop and start over. I want you to reach for ridiculous dreams, things that you, in 1,000 years, you couldn't possibly. And it touched my heart because it was one young lady. She just wanted to go to college. For somebody else, that may have sounded simple to you, like, oh, go to college? Well, you just go to college. Well, she had a very limited education. She wasn't confident in the way she spoke. She wasn't confident in the way she read. So going to college and getting a college degree was the same as walking on the moon to her. And so what I would impart into people, into women, men as well, is to envision what you truly want with your heart. Don't allow fear to creep in, because it will, and your flesh will feel like you're lying. When you start talking about being a millionaire and your bank account is in the negative, you feel like you're lying. You feel like you're telling a lie. But you can't feel like that. You have to continue to speak those things. Speak what you want. You got to say it out your mouth. You have to put it before your eyes. And it's so amazing how we were created, because we can have and do anything we want. We can have and do anything we want to do. I love it, the History Channel, and they were talking about the birds, with the way the birds migrate to the south in the winter. And when you see those birds migrating, it is just in their makeup. If a bird decided, I don't want to go south, I want to go north, it cannot do it. It cannot. It was created to follow the flock, follow the rest of the birds, and come down south. We were the only ones that were created to change our mind at any moment. At any moment, you can change your mind. Right at this moment, you can change your mind to be healthier, to be wealthier, to travel the world. At any moment, you can stop and do a rewrite. And that's exactly what I shared with them in the vision board party.
I like that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I like that because, no. I like that because here's the other thing, and you said something also that stuck out to me, and that was that not only did you say have ridiculous dreams, and then you just kind of looked and you had to stop them and say, wait a minute, I need you to go above just the basic. Because you want to know why? Here's also another thing that I've found with not only kind of working with women to know that we don't sit alone with ourselves enough to dream, to even really know what it means to have ridiculous dreams or to even really truly know what we want for ourselves. Oftentimes we allow either the circle that we're in or just outside influences that we come in contact with every day to determine that for us. And we don't truly sit alone with ourselves enough to say, I like that, but is it for me? I like that, but is that what I want for my life? You know, and have conversations with God and figure out what he has divined and purposed over your life. I find that because we are so distracted with, social media, and we're so distracted with other things that are going on, the television and things like that, that when it really, really gets down to it, we haven't truly done the work to envision what we want to go on that vision board because we've not sat alone with our thoughts long enough to really, truly and figure that out. And then we get the shiny, blingy syndrome sometimes where we're just looking at what it seems as though fits into everyone else or what everyone else is doing or what the next person is doing, and how does that fit into your life. And so I find, too, and just what you were sharing, it's absolutely true. And I love it, like you said, the young lady who said go into college, to the person sitting to her left or to the right of her that may have seemed like such a, an easy thing to do. But for her, that really was a ridiculous dream. That was something that, in her eyes, really seemed big. It seemed, as though it needed to be on the vision board, something she needed to strive and work extra hard to obtain. So thank you for that, and that was really good. That was really good. So what was the feedback that you get from your vision board? How at the very end of it? Were the ladies walking away feeling at the end of the session?
They walked away. It surprised me, but a lot of women said that they walked away feeling lighter. They felt they were able to shake off a lot of beliefs, self-limiting beliefs. And it so shocked me because I get the way they were thinking is they were going to come to the vision party, they were going to cut out these cute little pictures and put them on the board and go home and take this cute little board home with these cute little things on it. But when they had the opportunity to sit down, just like you were saying, they had at that moment, in that moment of time, they had a chance to just be with themselves. There was no children, no husband, no anything. So they had an opportunity to sit there and really find out what is it that I really want. Who am I really? And so it blessed my heart to see them leave with tears in their eyes, excited, motivated to make some of those things come to pass quickly, because I say that all the time, dream bigger and execute faster. That's the only thing that has separated me from my peers is I dream bigger and I execute faster. And so anybody can do that. When you're giving instructions on doing something, you implement quickly. Exactly.
I love that.
Dream bigger, execute faster.
Yep. I love it. Thank you. That's another great quote that she leaves us with as we transition into our final Physically Fit commercial break for the day, ladies. So just before I transition you to your Physically Fit commercial break, I want to give you an uncuffed key. Now, you all have heard about my recent co-authoring of the book, Keys to Living Uncuffed, Women in Business, which is the mastermind project of Capri Smith, who I call the Uncuffed Queen. And her uncuffed key for today is be so bold in your delivery that your present overshadows your past. A lot of times we are afraid of judgment because we know that we have made previous bad decisions and mistakes. We allow those issues to stop us from being great in the present. We can almost feel the judgment and fingers being pointed when we take steps to be better. To this I say, yes, you may have messed up, but stop allowing your critics to play God over you. Today, allow your fresh new self to overshadow that broken little child screaming for attention. Today, be bold. And that is an uncuffed key to how you live uncuffed. Ladies, I tell you, you are getting the goodness here today. So if you want more information about how to purchase the keys to uncuffed living, make sure you send me a message on Facebook, and I can tell you how to get a copy of that book. That is a sample with myself and 8 other women who were co-authors to this book. And, you know, again, 6-figure earners, police officers, stay-at-home moms, women that are in the online business, gave you great keys to living uncuffed. Okay, so now we're going into our final Physically Fit commercial break. And I know you all were just waiting for that. I was just giving you that edge to get uncuffed. And like Dr. Tonya said, dream bigger and execute faster. So now I want you to execute this Physically Fit commercial break. And we're going to do leg lifts times 10 on each leg. Now, for all my warriors out there, you can add resistance with weight. So doing leg lifts, 10 on each leg. For a little resistance, add some weights. Some weights can be water bottles in your hands, can be cans of soup, whatever you have. Let's make it happen, ladies, and I'll see you back after the break.
If you're the parent of a child with behavioral challenges that has been suspended, expelled, or just not able to make it in a traditional school setting, there is an alternative. Call the Metropolitan Day School today. Licensed and accredited grades K through 12. Call 804-321-2595. Financial assistance and after-school programs are available. Let's turn this school year around right now at the Metropolitan Day School, where Eagles soar. Call Ms. Thomas today. 804-321-2595.
Hi, this is Benita with Off the Vine. Join us on Fridays at 3 o'clock for Fun Talk About Wine. This season, I'm going to put this little sommelier certification to work as we expand the conversation to talk about beer and spirits too. Meet more exciting special guests, and you never know just who may show up at the studio. Off the Vine with Benita on the May We Help You Radio Network, giving you something to whine about.
This is Tanya Free. The relevance of Black History Month and how we celebrate our achievements and prepare for the future comes into question every February. Dr. Carter G. Woodson proclaimed the second week of February to be Negro History Week back in 1926, honoring the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Dr. Woodson stated that we should emphasize not Negro history, but the Negro in history. President Obama said a few years back that each February we recognize African American History Month as a moment to reflect upon how far we have come as a nation and what challenges remain. What's your take? How can we make Black History Month more relevant this year?
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, your destination for the best in social and political straight talk. Wednesdays at 2 p.m., streaming live on TanyaFree.com and BlackTalkRadioNetwork.com. Join the conversation Wednesdays at 2 p.m.
Hi, my name is Letitia M., owner of May We Help You Network. I want to thank you for joining us and enjoying our hosts here on MWHY Radio Network. Please visit us online at mwhyradio.com and like us on facebook.com/MWHY Radio. Tune in to learn more about our hosts and upcoming contests and our TV programming that'll be coming to you soon. MWHY Radio, bringing together business, community, and you.
Hello and welcome back to the Total Woman Wellness Show. I am your host, Delayna K. Watkins, and we have been sharing such goodness on this show today with our special guest, Dr. Tonya Callender. She came on the show on fire and has just shared nothing but goodness and greatness here with us today. So, ladies, as I was sharing the hashtag Ask the Nurse segment question, before I bring Dr. Callender on, I want to just share a few things that you can do. The question was about cardiovascular disease, and again, as we observe Heart Health Month, the 2 Physically Fit commercial breaks that I shared with you, of course, as always, is cardiovascular related. And basically what that is, ladies, is you want to get your heart rate going. You know, the target heart rate that I talked about and the tips that Belinda shared during the fitness tip really just talks about you being motivated to take action and really, like Dr. Tonya said, not the other way around, which is take action to become motivated and not being motivated to take action. Okay, so if we think about that, you know, I always am one to say that 1 degree shift in thinking. So here are a number of things that you have control over in order to not be in that category of high risk for cardiovascular disease. The first one is your diet. The second, physical activity, the choice whether or not to use tobacco products, being obese, having high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, and diabetes. And so today I shared on my Facebook wall the 3 Bs that I want you to, over the next week, to really know and understand so that you can get under control. It's going to be your blood pressure, your blood glucose, which measures for diabetes, and then your blood cholesterol. And that measures your LDL and HDL. And what we want to be in normal range is the HDL, and you can think of that as the healthy cholesterol. It starts with the H. That's your LDL. Okay? So, ladies, again, Friday, wear red. Use the hashtag #LoveYourHeart and tag me in your photos. Wear red. I don't care if it's a red earrings, red scarf, red shirt, red pumps, whatever. Wear your red and tag me in your photos so that we can show women all across the globe that we love our heart and that we are in it for better heart health care and prevention. Okay, so just as we wrap up such a wonderful show, I am going to bring on Dr. Callender to wrap it up and bring it home. So for those of you who just tuned in to the show, if you have a question, just simply press 1, or if you're listening online, you can dial in 646-652-2512, and then you can press the number 1, and it'll let us know that we have a caller in studio that has a question or comment for us. Dr. Callender, wrap it up, bring it home, and give our listeners 1 or 2 things that they can do. I don't want to overwhelm them. 1 or 2 things that they can do right now, today, at the conclusion of this show, so that they can write their own story of victory and triumph.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see, 1 or 2 things. One thing I would definitely say is writing an affirmation to yourself. That's the very first thing I would say. And that's A. B to number 1 is actually speaking it to yourself. Speaking it to yourself in the mirror or recording it. I would prefer for you to record it on your smartphone so you always have it handy. But speak it to yourself in the morning before you leave in the mirror. Look at yourself.
Yes.
Second part to that is I want you to look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eyes, and hug yourself. And tell yourself, I believe in you. If nobody else hugs you today, if nobody else loves on you today, if nobody else tells you that they believe in you today, you have said it to yourself. So you may feel strange at first. It does feel kind of strange, but I promise you, stand in front of the mirror, hug yourself, and love on yourself. Say, I believe in myself. I deserve happiness. I'm worthy. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm loved. I'm valuable. I'm beautiful. I'm confident. I'm able. I'm deserving. I love you, Tonya. So those are 2 things I would say. That's something you can do today. Yes, make sure they post it on your wall. Yes. Make sure they post it on your wall today that they did it.
On my wall. Yes, I love that. Thank you. You heard that. That was a take action. And if you are stuck in how to create an affirmation, really what Tonya said really was just a root word for an affirmation. Everything that she just said, pick out those things that are important to you that will help you to become victorious and triumphant, and select those things that, again, that you can embody and embrace, and then, like she said, personalize it by adding your name to the end. Say it to yourself in the mirror, and then hug yourself, which, again, is another thing, and it goes right back to what I talked about loving yourself. When you hug yourself, you touch your heart. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat. It is unique to you. So that is how you show yourself love. That is how you are able to become, like I said before, and like Dr. Callender has been talking the entire show, of being triumphant and victorious over any situation that you may be in, that you may be facing. and then becoming motivated behind it. Again, to take action, to become motivated, and I just love it, not to be motivated to take action. That is so profound. There was a lot of goodness shared today on the show. If you missed any portion of today's show, please be sure to just go in and download it by simply clicking on the Blog Talk Radio link that's found on my Facebook wall. It's available to you for download, and then you can listen to it whenever at your leisure if you miss any portion of this show, because it will bless your life and it will change your circumstances and your outcome about just how you see yourself, both mind, body, and spirit. So, Dr. Callender, again, thank you. Please share with our listeners anything that you may have coming up. Again, we all know that you just recently had that vision board party, which was a huge sold-out success. So tell us about anything that you have coming up in the near future, and then how the listeners can stay in touch with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have completed my second book. It is called The Belief Factor. It is very close to my heart. Naked Yet Not Ashamed, my first book, was my personal testimony, my personal story. The Belief Factor is for people that you have to get into that place where you believe. And it has a mini workbook inside the book. They actually go on sale, pre-sale, February 14th. I'm actually releasing that book and going on a 10-city book tour beginning March 14th. That's kicking off here at home in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'm super excited about that. Everything that has to do with the Belief Factor is coming. We have a conference. We have a retreat in Puerto Rico. But you can go to my Facebook page, my public figure page, Dr.Tonya L. Callender, and stay abreast of all the activities that are coming. That's getting updated soon, so you can stay connected to me. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter at Tonya L. Callender, TonyLCallender, or visit my website at TonyaLCallender.com. I look forward to connecting with as many people as possible.
Absolutely, and I encourage all of you who are listening to get connected to Dr. Callender. And did you say Puerto Rico for the retreat?
Yes, ma'am. That would be August 6th through the 9th. We'll have the Belief Factor Puerto Rico experience.
Well, you know, everything after that kind of faded out, because after I heard you say Puerto Rico in August, which is my birthday month, you just had me sold right there. So I will make sure that I get the details and information on
Absolutely.
On that. So it's the Belief Factor, ladies. So again, find out how to get in touch with Dr. Callender, follow her, and look for the Belief Factor coming to a city on tour near you. Dr. Callender, thank you again so much for being a part of today's show. You brought fire. It stayed on fire. So the ladies should be on fire for themselves, on fire for heart health, and on fire for becoming a total woman. So, ladies, join me next Wednesday. You're welcome. Next Wednesday, same time, 12 noon, here on the Total Woman Wellness Show. We have Miss Maricia Sherman of Her Groove joining us out of Tennessee. Let me just tell you, can't give away too much. She also is going to bring fire. Hers is going to come in the form of groove, and we are going to groove with fire next week. So join me here, same time, on the Total Woman Wellness Show. I thank you, and make it a blessed and healthy week.